Okay, I think it's still loading up. All right, so you can see my screen, yeah? Right, great. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so thank you all very much for thank you very much for joining in. It's a pleasure. I want to be able to thank you guys for the opportunity to basically share with you everything that I'm going to be sharing with you today. I don't know. Are there more people we should be expecting as well, or it's okay? It's clear for me to just start right off the bat because I was made to understand that there are people that are in a cohort that are actually supposed to be learning today.
Yeah, there are some people that are supposed to join in they are running late.
Yeah.
So you join in along the way.
All right, no problem. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at what AI agents are, how automations work, the tools behind them, and how you can start building with some of these tools right now. And basically what makes something an AI agent and what makes something an automation as well. So if you look at this, this will just give you like a quick mental model of what an AI agent is supposed to be. But let me just dive into that. Right, so before we basically kick into what an AI agent is, we would have to first of all talk about what an LLM is. So an LLM is what we basically call a large language model. It's an AI model that is trained on massive amounts of text and data. So it learns patterns, meaning, and structure of human language well enough to be able to understand input and generate useful output, such as answers, summaries, code, explanation, and conversation. And working with a lot of agentic systems or dealing with almost of automation systems, this is one of the most basic things that you need to also know. One reason why it's always good, definitely there's a lot more that goes into it. But for today's class, I'm going to like try to make it as simple and as straightforward as possible, so that because there are a whole lot of things that you're still going to have to go forward and learn on your own. But what I'm going to be doing is giving you that basic mental model and those basic things that you need to know in order for you to be able to push forward from here. All right, so for some type of LLMs that you should know, we have the general purpose LLMs. Most of these are meant for chatting, they write, the reason, or coding, but they are a lot more tailored to being able to deal with the basic things. Where we have the regular. I can give you an example, being the GPT 5.4 model, but which is from the OpenAI class. We have the reasoning focused models. Now, these are AI models that can reason step by step. They can break down complex tasks into step-by-step reasoning and to be able to solve those tasks. And then we have the multimodal models. Most of these are kind of AI models that can work with text, images, audio, and sometimes videos as well. And there are a whole lot more different types of them, but most of the time, these are the basic ones that you're going to be working with a whole lot of the time. Even if you look into the regular ChatGPT, if you look into Claude or from Anthropic, which is what I'm going to be touching on here now. These are some of the different kind of large language models that you would find today, especially from some of the really popular companies. There are some of them out there that are not so popular, some of them that are open source, but these are some of them that we call them frontier models. They're like the flagship when it comes to AI models as well. Starting first with the OpenAI GPT family. Some of the models in here include the recently released GPT 5.4, GPT 5.3, and a whole lot of them going back. We have the Claude family from Anthropic, which includes we have Claude Sonnet 4.6, Claude Opus 4.5. One thing you should like look at it as you should look at an LLM as the basic brain of an AI system, the main brain itself. There's so many other things that goes into it, which I'll be touching on, but you can look at an LLM as the base brain when it comes to that. Though there's still like the lower side, the lower level side that comes to how a lot of how most LLM works. But this is what you're basically going to need to understand going forward. So on here, I'm basically going to be explaining and giving you a breakdown of um, how the three of them work so that you're not mixing them up. The difference between an AI agent, an AI workflow, and automation. Now, for AI agents, when you, though I'm still going to like give you like a more breakdown into it, but an AI agent is basically an LLM that has been given tools, memory, and the ability to be able to make use of these parts of tools, memory, remember them to be able to solve complex problems. So you can you can use that as to give you a mental model. Most LLMs would usually just receive inputs and give you an output. You receive tests, you ask them questions, they give you an answer as well. But when that LLM has been given things like a knowledge base, a memory, has been given tools to be able to solve complex problems or tasks, then at that point it has basically become an AI agent. And you can see this in some of the regular tools we work with today. If you're the type that uses ChatGPT today, you can basically look at ChatGPT as an AI agent on its own because the way the system has been built, it's been built and given tools. It has been given memory. It understands and remembers things about you. And sorry, it's been given tools as well. You can tell it, okay, turn this into a PDF document for me, or get this done. So it will use those tools, those memory. It can go on the web and also search for things as well if you're going into deep research. So a lot of the systems that we are seeing today, though they have been really simplified, but they are classic cases of AI agents themselves. So look at it as an LLM. I will just give you question and answers based on the training data that has been given before. But an AI agent are LLMs that can make use of tools to be able to solve complex tasks, answer questions, or get recent information as well. And some of them can also delegate to other agents, but that is something that will come further down the line. Um, so now we have AI workflows. Now, what we'll call an AI workflow is basically a process that has strict set of rules, but has an LLM placed in them to be able to basically give you an output. So an example, first of all, an example of an AI agent, you can see research these options, book the best slots for me. You basically tell the AI agent, okay, do this and then give me this outcome based on what you have access to. But working with an AI workflow, it doesn't work. It's not supposed to work outside of the system that you've placed it. It's a direct, straight up system. When you receive this data, this is how you are supposed to respond to it. When you receive it, when you do this, or when you get this input, this is the output that is expected from you. That is basically an AI workflow. Now, automation itself can then be classified as bringing multiple AI workflows and then guiding it by a set of rules to be able to handle repeatable tasks. So when it is something that is done repeatedly, say every day by 2 p.m., read my emails, read my newsletters, and create a summary and give me a to-do list for the day. At that point, you have basically gone into automation itself. And if you look at automation, this particular thing could be like a combination of 2 to 3 different AI workflows to give you that automation process. All right, so let me move on to the next slide. So here, basically, what is an AI agent? An AI agent is a software that can understand a goal, decide what to do next, use tools or data, and keep moving until the job is done or it needs help with anything. So you basically give the AI agent a goal or a prompt and you let it know this is what I want to achieve, this is what I want to do. And then the AI agent, it takes that input in, it reasons around it, it looks at what it has access to, and then it can use that context to achieve a goal for you and everything it has access to achieve that particular goal for you. So if you look at it, it uses tools like web search, email, code, or databases. It remembers context and can adapt. So situations where the AI agent, most of the time, the more you interact with it, the more it learns, the more it adapts, the more learns better how to use some of those tools and get towards its goal. And then lastly, it acts less hand holding than a chatbot. So compared to a chatbot where you just ask questions and receive an answer, so an AI agent can do a whole lot more than that. All right, so basically, this is how a lot of the AI agents work. So you'll see why we first of all had to start off with what an LLM is. First, you most of the time you give the AI agent a prompt or a goal, you explain to it, and then once it receives that goal, it checks everything that is available to it, which will be is the knowledge base. So giving a quick definition here, a knowledge base or a RAG is basically your own files, your data that you give to the LLM and they let you know that okay, whenever a question comes in, any question that is related to my business or any question that is related to what I am doing, anything about me, you can use this knowledge base to basically receive input and answer that question. So now there is the memory as well, perhaps anything that any context that you guys have discussed before, anything that the AI agent has been exposed to before and then learns about it. Most times, once it has been stored in the memory, it makes it easier for it to be able to react better and give you a better output or an action. Then we have tools and APIs. Most of it, so this is where we now started going into other extra concepts like MCPs, APIs, tools. So as I said, there's a whole lot that goes into it. But what you just need to understand are these basic foundations, and then from here you can always make your way up the path of being an AI engineer or somebody that's basically uses AI agents to be able to solve complex problems for businesses and for businesses and for yourself too. So and then lastly, here we have some guardrails on human reviews because you want to be able to also guide the system so that it gives you the exact output that you are basically looking for. All right, then coming in here, automation, this is basically when you bring together a set of AI workflows and are woven together by guided rules to be able to handle repetitive tasks. So most of the time, most of the things that make up an automation system usually have a trigger where something happens. It could be like a prompt, it could be a webhook. I don't know if any of you have seen situations where if you look into some of this, if you're on Instagram or you're going through Twitter and you see someone's content or someone's video, and the person tells you, "I need you to comment down below," and then when you comment down below, the person either sends you a DM or sends you something that you're looking for that is needed in that particular that you need in regards to that content. So that is basically automation at its finest, because the moment that trigger, your trigger is the trigger in that particular system is your comment. You comment to that person's video or you comment under that person's content, and then the entire system basically triggers the system to be able to send you whatever data that has been stored somewhere, and then triggers it to send you a DM or send you a direct message. So that is usually a simple automation process, and I will show you the tools that they basically use for systems like that. So some basic simple examples that perhaps you'll be able to even work on your own, and then basically grow on from there. Perhaps maybe when a meeting is booked, you can create a task list and reminder, or when you set up a form and somebody fills the form, it will automatically send a reply to someone, and then log that particular response in the form into a sheet for you. Or perhaps when a content is recorded, it can automatically turn it into caption or script. All right. So now, one coming down here, one thing you also want to be able to understand when working with a lot of AI systems is that the kind of prompting you use determines how well the kind of response you will get. If your prompts are vague, if what you're telling the AI is vague, you're not going to get the kind of answers you'll be able to work with, compared to when you give it proper, well detailed prompts. And this is something that you will start basically having to understand when you start dealing with a lot of complex AI systems, where you have to start setting up the system prompts and guidelines. So you're going to have to make sure that a lot of those prompts are well detailed to be able to catch any kind of different edge cases or things like that, to prevent things like AI hallucination or things like ambiguity, or different things like that. A lot of the times, working with different AI workflows, you want to be able to have well detailed prompts that will be able to guide the system itself to give you exactly what you are looking for. Okay, so I hope it's not too much for everyone at the moment. I think I'm going to be almost done here. Then we can go into Q&As and basically talk about a whole lot more and what it's like being an AI engineer or being someone in this field, and basically where the industry itself is going towards. So some real world examples, we have coding agents. These are basically, a lot of these coding agents are used by, sorry, I'm still on this call. Okay, yeah, let me share my screen again. I think it's, okay, yeah. All right. Please, if you're following, please let me know, and you could drop a quick, uh, you could drop a quick emoji in there. I don't know exactly know why my screen keeps closing the share, but let me open it up again. Yeah, thank you very much. All right, so I think after this call, I'm going to basically show you some examples of how some of these systems work. Uh, but all right, so I think I may have to stop turning it into full screen because it keeps closing the. I'll just use it like this. Okay, so yeah, we have coding agents. So basically, real world example of how a lot of these agents work. We have coding agents. These agents are basically agents. If you're the type of person that is into software development or programming and things like that, these are coding agents that can basically read through a code base for you. They can write code. They can speed up building. They can basically do anything that you that has to do with software development. Or a lot of the time, if you look at the environments where most of these they work in, they don't just work alone. You know, a lot of these agents are usually paired up with other different agents. These are the things that make a particular system work together. But most of these coding agents have been trained on data that they can work with to be able to read and write code and write good code as well. We have basically research assistants. So these are AI agents that basically have tools that can enable them to perhaps search websites, go on to basically use tools, search websites, gather data, arrange that data. This is how most research assistants or research agents work. We have operation bots. So these are the type that usually keep tabs on regular workflows or automation systems. And then lastly, we have the knowledge assistant. So this is just giving you real world examples of how a lot of these systems or these agents are used. You know, there are so many other use cases a lot of the time, but these are just a few of them. All right, so now for tools. So there are so many tools out there today, and I know that if this is one space that actually tends to move really fast. On a day-to-day basis, companies are usually putting out a lot of new different um, products that can enable you to the maybe you properly harness AI agents or AI systems, LLMs, and work around them and with them. So one of the most basic tools or basic examples right now are GPTs by ChatGPT. So the thing is that a lot of people don't know that there's so many other things you can do with ChatGPT aside just asking it this question and getting a response. And there's so many other things you can do. If you're the type of person that likes to explore, you can actually explore how GPTs work. You can understand how a lot of these systems work with each other. How is it that most times ChatGPT can actually remember things about you? That is something that you would usually look at and know that okay, this in a way is somewhat of an agentic system on its own. The only thing is that it has been simplified so much for a lot of people due to the fact that it's more of a consumer product. So it's simplified a whole lot that most people don't can't exactly tell. But once you work with a lot of systems long enough, you'll be able to tell how so many things work together. Like your regular chat GPT can have different AI systems or different AI agents working together but you're not even going to be able to note that. You're not even going to be able to notice that because of how everything has been built. Some of them are a lot more user facing, while some of them are embedded into the system as AI workflows. The second one will be NHN. Now, please do remember to like take note of some of these platforms because these are like basic platforms that people you can use to create automations, use to create AI agents. Basically, it depends on what your outcome is or what you want to do, what you want to gain, the kind of outcome you're looking for. So we have NHN. So NHN is more of a it's more of like it's more or less for if you're not too much of a technical person, you don't want to dive deep into the main coding side of it. This is where tools like NHN and Make.com really help because they sort of give you like a visual flow of how a lot of AI agents and automation systems are built. So if you're leaning towards if you're leaning towards having to build automation systems, dealing with AI workflows, and uh, especially when you see situations where a lot of those comments on your content or you're going through Twitter, you're going through X, you want to be able to do something similar to that where people, whenever people respond to your message and then immediately sends them a DM or it logs them into a system or adds them to a newsletter, things like that. This is where it really comes in. Tools like N8N, Make.com, Zapier. Those are the tools that usually really help with being able to get that done. And there are so many other tools. A lot of the ones that I'm putting out here, I think they're basically some of the ones that I've used for a while. I've worked with them, and due to the fact that I do a lot more technical work, so some of them in here are also a bit technical too, depending on the kind of outcome you are looking for. All right, so we have make.com. That is another agentic system that's really helpful to non-technical people because you can pretty much see how the entire system interacts with each other without basically looking into the code itself. Now we have Cursor. Now Cursor is an agentic IDE. So it's sort of and first of all, looking into what an IDE is more or less like an environment where programmers are able to code and build softwares, build different things as well. So Cursor is an agentic IDE that has AI agents working together with humans to be able to build up products themselves. So it's a lot more advanced than normal vibe coding or normal vibe coding softwares. Um, Cursor itself, it's where you basically take it a step over the other. Because while we have N8N, Make.com, this can help you with simple workflows or simple automation. By the time you want to go into advanced, complex workflows, you want to be able to have more flexibility over the system, over the rules and all. This is when you can use tools like Cursor to be able to handle that. We have Cloud Code as well. So the Cloud Code is more or less like an AI agent is an agentic system from the Anthropic company. That's the team behind Claude that allows you to be able to have an AI agent that lives in your terminal. So if you're a developer on here, you basically know what a terminal is. So a lot of the time you can combine some of these tools together. You can have Claude Code inside Cursor, and you're working with both of them. Look, though it does depend on what your budget is like, because some of these tools are not usually free, depending on what you're trying to achieve. But you can most times you can have Cloud Code working inside Cursor and using both of them together. You can working with Cursor and call into tools like initn or make.com. So a lot of these tools have been designed in such a way that they can actually speak to each other depending on the kind of workflow that you are working with or the kind of outcome you're looking for. And then we have LangChain as well. So this is basically for also for developers that are looking to build your own AI agents from scratch. You know, we can combine different models, tools, logic. So these are like different tools that you basically use for both automation, building AI agents, and working with AI agents as well. All right, let me move to the next one. All right. Okay, so these are four basic use cases that you can actually work with today. So if you go into ChatGPT, you can basically turn your PDFs, turn them into summaries, turn them into flashcards, revision. If you're a student on here, these are ways that you can use a lot of these different AI agents or AI systems to be able to improve your own personal workflow. So once you understand how some of these things work, then you can work with basically almost any other kind of tool or any other kind of system because they basically follow the same principles. You understand the basics and then you can work with it in almost any kind of system. If you work with ChatGPT long enough, you can actually work with other advanced systems. Sure, you're still going to have to like learn how to lean into some of those systems, but one thing about working with most AI systems is that a lot of that knowledge is transferable into different fields and into different tools as well. And perhaps you're a job seeker looking to track applications or things like that. Yeah, you're a freelancer or you're a community builder. There are different things with different tools that you can work with to be able to achieve all of this. Give me a quick moment. Let me, uh, please, guys, let me know if you guys can still hear me or can see what I'm doing.
Yes, yes, yes.
I wouldn't want a situation where I broke off, but I didn't know that I actually broke off at some point.
No, 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 no. We can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I want to show a quick example of a system that I've been working on and how some of these things actually come into play themselves. So give me a quick second. So let me quickly finish out with this and then all right. So lastly, and then skills to learn and some career paths that you can definitely look into under this. So this one thing about this particular industry, I would say is that a lot of the paths or the career paths are still pretty early because a lot of businesses are basically still trying to understand how to integrate AI workflows or AI automation systems into their day-to-day business activities. And all of these things, they most businesses already know that that is where the entire market or the entire system is heading into. So having a career around here, the demand for some of these roles is actually increasing as a lot more better frontier models are coming out or as the system itself gets disrupted because most people can tell that AI itself is disrupting a whole lot of industries, is disrupting a whole lot of businesses, and most businesses, at least the ones that will be thriving, especially in an agentic or in an AI world, AI's future, are the ones that are already experimenting ways to basically automate their workflow, basically work with a lot of these AI agents, work with a lot of these AI systems, either to help make sure that their clients are happy, or either to ensure that their product itself has better value, or to ensure that perhaps maybe their users are doing good. So these are some basic skills that you would want to look into, especially when you want to specialize in this kind of field. So you would want to understand how tools work, how APIs work, how systems talk with each other, files, searching, spreadsheets, messaging apps, some of your regular day-to-day tools as well. You would want to like look into how they interact with each other. Then there's the memory side, what to store, what to forget, when context matters, memory management, because as much as you want to be able to ensure that your AI agent or AI system can actively remember things, there are some things that you want to either be able to encrypt, or you don't want it to remember, or there's the memory management side of it too. If you're working with a system, or you're dealing with system design, memory management is actually very important. Though you wouldn't want to go down to the low level side of it where there's a programming side of it, but these are some of the things that can easily rack up costs for you. So you want to be able to manage them properly. Now, we have RAG systems and vector databases. So this is where systems where you can create your own knowledge base and give it to an LLM or an AI system so that it can work with it. So perhaps you can put down things about your business. You can start doing that today too. Perhaps maybe you're a student or no. And this is something that it already works with a lot of what we do today. But once you're able to put them down into a proper database, and you can give them to AI agents and they can actually work with it in real time, working with you. Then prompting, you want to be able to understand how to properly prompt your AI agents and all, knowing how to give them structured output, the kind of responses that you would expect from them, constraints as well, and then mindset evaluations, and then workflow thinking. So these are basically triggers. So when they say workflow thinking, we are basically going into system design at this point. What happens when this happens? When it gets to this point, how is the system supposed to respond? What happens when there are edge cases? What happens when there are approvals? You will start looking into a lot of these different details as well. And then career paths that you can look at as somebody that is looking to specialize in this field. We have the AI or the AI engineer or the agentic engineer. So you basically build systems that can reason, retrieve data, and act out on that data as well. So we have automation engineers. So you can connect tools, connect data, connect workflows end to end. So you can create a system that can constantly run on its own with very minimal human input. So agentic engineers, you can build out LLMs that can use tools that can act and can reason on its own. And then automation engineers, as an automation engineer, you can build out workflows that work and handle repeatable tasks on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of these things, they work together. Most of the times they work together, from an agent down to automation. A lot of them work together. And I'm going to show an example of that in one of the products that I'm actually working on right now. We have the solutions engineer. So as a solutions engineer, what you basically do is you look into problems a business might be having at the moment. You audit the business and then look at different places where AI systems will be able to help increase the output of that particular business. where AI agents or an AI automated system can help increase or give better output or better results or solve problems for that business. So that's what you basically do as a solutions engineer. So that is what you'll be doing as a solutions engineer. You're basically auditing businesses, um auditing products to find those integration points where an AI workflow will be able to 10x their output, and then an AI product builder. So you're mostly just working on the system end to end. So you're either working on startups or you're working on a product that uses everything in here at once. So these are just a few examples. There's still so many of them out there, and some good places for you to learn and further push what you're looking for is we have YouTube, we have Anthropic, because right now Anthropic, which is the company behind Claude, they actually have courses for being able to work with AI agents or work with AI systems. There are courses like that, but I would always recommend YouTube first. Perhaps you want to work with tools like NXN, Zapier, Make.com. Those is very simple, non-technical tools that anybody can spin up at any point in time to derive any outcome they are looking for. You go onto YouTube and search things like how to use NXN workflows. You can basically get that as well on YouTube. So I also talked about the Anthropic Academy. We have Microsoft AI agents for builders, but for beginners rather. So yes, Microsoft does offers courses and certifications as well. If you're looking to specialize in AI engineering, where you will then learn how to use the Microsoft Azure tools for AI building and basically understand how some of these systems interact, go into the foundation level to see how some of these systems interact. There's so many resources out there. There's the one from Google, even regular product documentations as well. There are way too many resources out there. So just so finally at the end of this presentation, before I just move into showing you guys a quick example of how how an agentic system works. One thing you can try to do have the next 7 days, perhaps just to like challenge yourself, you can pick one repetitive task that you hate. Maybe something that is always taking your time, something that is always stressing you out, and then you can write down how it works, how you do it on a day-to-day basis, what exactly you do, the steps that go into it. Then you choose a tool and build a small working workflow around that to basically automate that system for you. Perhaps on a day-to-day basis, you're always receiving, you have to run through data, and perhaps you have to run through some documents on a daily basis and then extract data from that document. So if it's something that is you find is repetitive, you can actually automate that workflow for yourself and start working from there, start looking into it from there, start researching into it from there. And the more products you work on, the more you experiment, the better you will be at basically being able to harness a lot of these products, a lot of these tools. All right. So please let me know if you have any questions so far. If there's anything that you need some added bit of clarity on, or anything that you still feel like you would like me to touch on before I switch my screen over.
Yeah, James, good evening. I have a
Yeah,
question.
yeah, sure.
Give me, I'm trying to jump back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to ask the question now, or do you want me to like finish first with what I was showing?
Okay, please, you can finish first. Okay.
All right, no problem, no problem. So, here is just a so on here. I'm basically going to be showing an example of a system that I'm actually working on right now. So, what you can see on here is a job hunting system, and I think it's something that you different people would be able to work with or test out. So, what this system basically does is that um, it's a team of different AI agents that can basically automate your job hunting process for you. So you will see that this part, everything you're seeing on here, right from the taskmaster itself, I'm going to show you where some of these concepts themselves come into play. So while we can have the orchestrator on here, so I could basically just ask it, you know, what job so far. Right. So this entire system, what it does is it goes out and scans for jobs for you based on your profile. So you give it your profile, you give it a breakdown of what you do, your CV, everything in relation to you as a person and what the kind of jobs you'll be looking for. Then it will go out and scan through those for jobs for you that match your profile, either on LinkedIn or either on different systems, different platforms rather. So it will go out through there, filter through them, and then bring them down, give you some insights into them, and then can apply to them for you. So and basically automates that entire process for you. So let me see. So here you can see that this is, as I said, it's a team of different AI agents working together. Here is a basic AI workflow. This particular section being the task master, it has already been given the exact output, how it's supposed to work, the rules that it needs to follow. So what it basically does is the anytime you chat in here, anytime you talk about like a job or you start the entire process, the taskmaster will take that particular process and then turn it into a checklist for the other AI agents to follow. So I said you're going to be looking at different system designs and how different AI agents interact with each other. So it basically tracks all of the different outputs from those AI agents as well. So the once the taskmaster has received the input and has turned it into a checklist, we have the researcher. So what the researcher does is it will basically go out and then look out for jobs for you, and then it will come back and then give you like an analysis and breakdown of those jobs and why it feels like those jobs are a good fit for you and your profile and what you are looking for. So once it's done with that, it then sends everything to the applicator here, which is another AI agent itself. That what it does is to basically apply to those jobs automatically for you. So you can see on here, it's basically on LinkedIn. So you're going to be working hand in hand with the agent itself to basically automate your entire job hunting process itself. So okay, so here's a quick example of that too. So you'll be able to see that the agent itself will go into some of these different platforms or the job that has been gotten. It will be giving you back screenshots, giving you details. You can see what it's talking about, how it's interacting with the system as well. So this this entire everything you're seeing on here, all of them working together is an automation system by itself. Now, within the automation system, we have the AI workflow, which is like the task master, and then we have the AI agent itself, which is the orchestrator, which can call or delegate tasks to any of these ones themselves. So you can see how a lot of these systems are interacting with each other. So that is just to, I really don't want to make things overly complicated today. But yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, so thank you very much. I know it's been quite long. It's been quite long, and so yeah, please let me know if you have any questions, any thoughts so far. I know I've taken a whole lot of your time. I don't want to. Um, all right.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I can
All
hear
right.
you
Thank
loud
you
and
very
clear.
much,
Yeah.
Jane. Thank you so much for everything that you shared with us. I think I particularly like the parts where you were talking about the tools to use, the tools we can use. Where you're talking about make.com, and because
Yeah.
make.com is something we leverage heavily here at Ascent. And then you were talking about following a system, following a framework, these agents, right, helping you with your frameworks and
Mm.
all. And it brought me to something yeah, an issue I had today earlier this morning. I spent time on it. That's the entire morning, and it's still on this whole idea of bringing two systems together to work and all of that. And
Yeah.
the question is around this whole thing of let's say there are when it comes to LLM, right? There are
Yeah.
notions out there that says, okay, you can use GPT. Let's say you have a project you're working on right now, a research or whatever, right? You can use ChatGPT, you can use DeepSeek, you can use Gemini, and so many others out
Yeah.
there, right? So there is that thought in it. Now, as let's say going outside the student field or going outside the research field, right? And then you're faced with a task or rather a series of projects, right? That they ought to function like let's say like a gear. Also, I don't know if you get
Yeah.
what I'm trying to a picture
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. I
trying to
get that.
paint. Right. So let's say you have something like that, and then these different aspects, right? They are the AI, right? They are the AI tools. So is it
Yeah.
would you recommend, right? Let's say, for instance, I have Zapier and then I have
Yeah.
make.com. And because these tools they work and they are like competitors in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So let's say I have Zapier and I have Make, and I want to blend the two into just one system because Zapier is not giving me what I want. Make Zapier is not giving me all I want, and at the same time, Make is not giving me all I want. Right. So now for LLMs, right, you're saying you can explore different tools and all. But when it comes to these software tools, right,
Yeah.
in a sense, does it make sense, right, to use so many others out there? And as long as they get your job done, does it make sense to use so many others just because they are useful?
It makes a lot of sense for you to gain knowledge on them. As I said, a lot of these tools, the knowledge you gain on any of them can easily be transferred to any other tool as well. But they might have different interfaces, they might have different ways that they interact, but most of them still follow the same basic principles. Now, in a situation where perhaps your workflow, you're not getting what you need or not getting exactly what you're looking for, that is when you then want to be able to take it into somewhere like Cursor. You can take it to somewhere like Cursor. Cursor would go down into the code itself. It gives tools like Cursor then give you that flexibility. So you can have a situation where you start out, you start building out your workflow in say N8N or Zapier
Mhm.
um, or make.com. You can start building it out there and then export most of those files into an IDE like Cursor, or where you can then use tools like Claude Code, use the Cursor AIs themselves, or the Cursor agentic flow themselves uh, to basically customize it in a way that fits what you're looking for. So in most situations, when you start to feel like platforms like Make.com or Zapier, you're not getting exactly what you're looking for from them, then it's possible that the kind of flow that you're looking for is starting to get a lot more advanced. Then you don't want to like take it into perhaps like raw IDE itself, and then look at um, looking at the code side of it, or having to work with the the AI tools like perhaps like Claude Code, as I wanted to say. So Claude Code is one really good way to go about it. So most of the time, it also the tool that you also work, it also depends, because there's some of them that I've worked with. Most of the time I work a whole lot more with Cursor because it gives that flexibility, and I'm more of a technical person. So most of the things that I would want to do on make.com or Zapier or anything, I could just go into Cursor and build it out from scratch and have that flexibility that I'm looking for. Some of these tools may not exactly allow you to be able to export that workflow, but some of them actually will let you do that. So you can export it out, depending on the kind of issue you are having. You can export it out, move it into a different tool like Cursor and IDE, and then customize it there to your taste so that you get what you're looking for. Yeah, so as I said, it gives you the more knowledge you have on these different tools and how they interact with each other will enable you to be able to, because that's basically problem solving itself. Because once you perhaps you hit a barrier with one tool, and then you start looking at, okay, what other tool can I use that will be able to help me solve this problem that I'm having on this tool. Here's an example. You can start with, there are situations where you can start with Google AI Studio. So I know that they started adding in a lot more updates recently, but there was a point where all you could do with Google AI Studio was to be able to create a landing page, but it's not giving you a functional product. Maybe you want to build a backend, or you want to build. So understanding the different LLMs and their capabilities would also really help you to be able to decide on the kind of tools that you want to work with. So, assuming perhaps you can have situations where you start building out your product landing page on Google AI Studio, because Gemini is really good with generating images and with front end design and things like that. So you could start up there, and then after that, you can then export that landing page into tools like Cursor to start working on the back end. And then that would end for you to then have a functional product. So there are also tools like the Google Anti-Gravity as well. But those are a lot more developer focused. So there are situations like that where you can cross. Some of these tools can also talk with each other. It just depends on how much time you're willing to put into it, because there's a lot more. You do a lot of experimentations with them. You experiment with as many of them as possible. It gives you that broad knowledge of what you're looking for. Perhaps you want to add in voice agents thereabout. Then you start looking at tools like 11 Labs, and then looking at how to fit it into your workflow so that you can have an AI agent that can actually talk back to people anytime you perhaps through voice and through audio and things like that. So most of the time it comes down to your imagination. A lot of the time your imagination is is how it works. It comes down to your imagination and the kind of outcome you're looking for. The kind of outcome you're looking for, one thing that is usually really good that you can start with, especially when you have a problem that you want to solve, you can first of all start with researching on that problem. do as much research into that problem as possible, break it down, and the kind of tools and workflow that will be required. And then you would then see the best ways to link up everything, including the stack and all of that. So that's that's basically it. Yeah, I think you're muted, by the way, but I don't know. I don't know if any other person has any
Okay.
more question.
All right, thank you very much, James. I mean, that helps.
Yeah,
And one of the reasons I asked that question is because something that that's also something someone in the cohort has asked. Okay, let's bring it up once more. Right.
yeah,
And another question, and this question is more like going into vision at Ascent Innovation Lab, right, which is centered on enabling shared prosperity for Gen Zs in emerging economies. That's we here in Nigeria, Global South, and all. All right. And
yeah,
it's it's about the job market, as it were. The job market. I don't know if
yeah,
you be comfortable answering the question, right? It's about the job market, and
yeah,
you must have probably heard about the whole like everyone listening here must have heard the whole AI will take your job if you don't learn AI, someone using AI will take your job and all of that. Now
yeah,
it tells us that, all right, it tells us that okay, we are actually coming into the age of automation, as it were. Let's call it the age, right? Because it's now like somewhere like in China, simple tasks like bartending, simple tasks like watching, simple tasks like walking, jogging, and walking your dog and all is something that's been done with AI, right? So it's now like the whole, if you want to get a job, you need to have this whole extended CV, right? As it were, before you can actually get something. And it brings me to the question. There's something I noticed in in the education industry, and it's that the is that they are now introducing AI curriculum, the AI agents, right, into school curriculum. Right? Students are now learning faster. Students are now um, being taught faster, or rather, they are now growing faster in their academics through AI. But when it comes to the global south, Africa, and Nigeria specifically, we have this whole thing of young people in the global south, right? If you go to somewhere like China, they hardly have young people. And you notice a corporation that is involved in sponsoring people into marriage. There are some countries out there that are paying young people to come to their community, like Italy or Italian cities, as it were. Now, these guys, they don't have young people, right? But Africans here, we have young people that are ready, that have, let me not say ready, but that are vibrant enough, right, to take up tasks. So if we bring in automation that other countries, right, other cities or other geographies they've used in their places because it's something that they actually need to cover up for that gap, bringing it now into the African economy, it now brings up the whole question of okay, we have people here. We are going to start displacing people. What can we do about that? And something I noticed is now the question is on automation versus augmentation of labor, right? Automation versus augmentation of labor. Being that when I say augmentation of labor, it's more like teaching people to learn these works faster, teaching people to do these things faster. So what are your thoughts on that? Because if you have something like the school where they are having just AI classes, just AI curriculum, AI teachers and all, right? It takes away the whole idea of OT or street knowledge or exposure or as it were social skills, and it just gives the child only intelligence, right? It leaves the child with just intelligence, not social skills, not what the child learns when the child goes to school, relating with people and all. So, but I just want to know your thoughts on that. Let me not go deeper than. deeper than that. I just want to know your
Yeah.
thoughts on that. Automation versus
Okay.
augmentation of labor.
I feel both of them actually work hand in hand. First of all,
All
you
right.
for the augmentation where you're having to, if I get that correctly, having to like train people to be able to work with AI agents or work with automated systems. I know. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, there is that because a lot of the time what these systems do is they help people to be able to it basically doubles their output. You get it doubles up their output. And I understand that in today's day and age, where we are hearing a lot of these tech layoffs or people saying that AI is replacing the jobs or that is not exactly
Mm-hmm.
how it seems. Now, for right from time, the thing is, companies have always been doing layoffs. I feel like right now they have more of like an excuse to
Yeah.
actually lay off people. Pushing it onto AI. But whether AI was there or
Yeah.
not, companies that want to lay off would still lay off people. The only thing right now is that it now AI now makes it easier for a set group of people to be able to do the work of more people. You get so it's perhaps one person can now almost do the work of say 5 to 10 people with an AI system and automation and AI tool. So now it depends on what the company's outcome is. If they're looking for a situation where they can maximize output or they um maximize the way people the kind of output that they get, it makes sense for you to have more people in and train those people with those AI agents or those AI systems, because it then gives them you then have like say 10 people that are almost doing the work of say 100 people if one person is to 10. You get so we
Yeah.
have 10 that are almost doing the work of 100 people. So imagine if you then get 100 people, those 100 people are then doing the work of almost 10,000 people as well. So if it depends on what the company is looking to achieve. Some companies might decide they want to scale down on people for them to be able to get more margins, get more profit. I would argue that that is usually not the best way to go. Um, s- but again, we've always heard of like tech layoffs even before the time of AI. Though it is important that you understand how to work with a lot of these tools because yes, that is the trend. That is where the entire industry is going towards. A lot of things are starting to get a whole lot more automated. People are starting to um, and businesses are starting to basically automate a lot of their processes. So a lot of these things they work hand in hand. You can have the automation that you've built on one end, and then have people being able to teach people to be able to work together with those automations as well. Now, for the part where you talked about having to develop social skills, I think that's something that I should have actually touched on in today's class. That's the side of critical thinking, social skills, and stuff like that. Because when you work with AI, you want to be able to have as much critical thinking as possible. That is one of the things that would actually really set you aside. You want to be able to question things. You're not just taking it in as it comes, but you want to be able to question things um as it comes in. You want to be able to basically you're not just taking in whatever the AI is giving you, because sometimes AI can tend to hallucinate. So you want to be able to basically properly question some of those things. Ask why, ask how does this work? Why does this work like this? What exactly does this do? those are some of the things that would really help you build your critical thinking, and would really help you to be able to work hand in hand with some of these systems as well. We for the I remember you talked about the street OT or the street smart. A lot of those things are still very important too. The only thing is that the way the entire, should I say, the way our industry or the way the world is evolving, people will still have to look for ways to make up for those things. Because some things are, while some things are going, some things are changing. So it's being able to adapt to that change, without necessarily losing, too much on your own end. So let us assume that students right now are having to work with AI agents, but because they are working with AI, they are not having to work with themselves. That is now an edge case that you have to also prepare for. Perhaps maybe you're building up, you're setting up like a cohort, or maybe you're into education or things like that. You would want to look at situations where students can work as team members and also have AI agents as a team member as well. So it allows that situation where both of them can communicate with each other properly and still and not have too much technical depth as well. So that's basically what I would say in regards to that. So I would say two of them are, with the way everything is progressing, the best businesses or the best companies going into the future are those that know how to balance and make them work with each other, make them work hand in hand. Augmented engineering, the augmented learning, and also the automation itself, having them work hand in hand, where you have the automation system and then you have people that you are training to be able to work with that automation system, not just because definitely you want to still have humans in the loop. You want to still have people that can look at the output that the AI is giving and tell the AI, no, you're not doing it right, or this is correct, or this is not right, or basically give it that guidance. So putting the system out there on its own without having that proper human guidance, it has its own risks as well. So, but when you pair it up with someone, or you pair it up with a human, perhaps teach them to be able to understand and work with these systems, you are not just creating value for yourself, but you're creating value for your business, you're creating value for other people as well. And then you're ensuring that whatever is happening in that system is still controlled to an extent. You're not outsourcing everything by itself to the AI system or to the workflow itself. There's still that basic required control and accountability that is needed, because a lot AI cannot take accountability. It's only humans that can take accountability. Humans are the ones that understand risk. So AI most times does not understand that risk. So you still want to ensure that you have humans in the mix and they are working together hand in hand. So yeah, that's basically what I have to say on that.
All right, thank you very much, James. This has been really, 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 really interesting. So
These tools, knowing how to do knowledge transfer, knowing how to do knowledge transfer from one side to the other, knowing how to ensure that different AI systems can talk to each other and transfer data with each other, and then the kind of like formats and all that. So there's a whole lot more to learn, but one thing I can say is that with this particular foundation of things, you should be be fine. That's all I can say. You should be fine. It's just to build on top of this and keep experimenting it as much as possible. Yeah.
All
right. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a great time. I talk. Yeah. All right. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah. Feel free. Let me know if there's anything else that is
Yeah,
needed as well.
Thank you for joining us in this session, and I myself I enjoyed it even better. Now, if you like this kind of discussions, I think what we're building here at Ascent Innovation Lab will excite you even more. We're currently running one of our training programs where we show GenZs how to take a hold of this AI-driven future, and this webinar is simply an offshoot of that progression. And we will have our blog page where we share relevant insight from writers, and I mean really interesting writers in our community. And then lastly, speaking of communities, we have our communities over on WhatsApp where we deliberate more on these topics in-house and share relevant insights across various demographics. And when I say demographics, I'm talking about if whether you're a student or you're early stage professionals, this was built for you. Now, all of this is encased in our vision of enabling shared prosperity for emerging economies by equipping Gen Zs with these AI and VR skills and leadership training. Now, if you're interested in being a part of that community, click the link in the description below and we'll pick up from there, all right? Cheers.